Please welcome to the stage Lema Daley.
I want to take you to a memory that you might have experienced. It's a Sunday night and your school uniform's hanging on the back of the door and you've got this churning feeling in your stomach. Now that might have been because you know you haven't done that homework that you should have prepared and you're hearing the teacher say, no homework again, detention for you. Or it could be the bully that's determined to make your life a misery. I had that feeling, only I was a social worker. It's 2003 and I've experienced stress and distress in my work. I felt that my uniform was what I was planning to wear to work the next day, but I was dreading it because I was at a place where I was feeling overwhelmed and on the edge of burnout. So in the sense of what I was experiencing isn't unusual, but over time I came to start working with people who were telling me a similar story of feeling exhausted, disillusioned and burnt out. Throughout the UK, over half the working days lost per year are as a result of stress, anxiety and depression. And did you know that if you're working in the public sector, you're more likely to experience stress, trauma, anxiety and depression than any other sector? So why do I know about this? Well, my name's Lema Daley and I'm a social worker and therapist, and I've been qualified and working in the public sector for 25 years now. I know I can hardly believe it myself sometimes, but there we are. And in this time, I've worked with a lot of clients who tell me that the same sort of story, that they're exhausted, they don't know where to turn sometimes, the workload is piling up, and they just feel overwhelmed, such that they're even thinking of leaving the work that they really, really love. And that's a real shame, because what they bring to practice is so important, but sometimes they're just feeling like they can't do it anymore. During this time, I actually felt that there was a need to think about how to work through this process. So back then in 2003, although I had a really excellent and supportive manager, I felt it was going to be difficult to say, do you know what, I'm just not coping. Because there's a sort of way where you feel you've got to just tough it out and, you know, be strong and be seen to cope. But we're not always coping all the time. And that's really what I'm here to talk to you about today. The whole element of working in the public sector has brought on a whole range of demands, whether you're in teaching, in education, in health, or social work. And although social work is my main background, mainly in children's safeguarding, I actually have worked with a lot of people and practitioners over the years. And one of the things that I was noticing is that people were feeling that overburden and overwhelm, and they needed to know how to work through it. But I found some techniques myself that I used as part of my self-help program, and it worked for me. And then I started working with other people, because one of the things is when you're doing your work and you feel like you're on the treadmill, you know, putting in all the effort, working up a sweat and absolutely getting nowhere, and you feel like, what is the point in this? So it's about the passion that you bring to your work. Oftentimes, you know, people go into various professions because they are passionate, but passion sometimes has a way of overcoming people. What happens is we're putting more and more effort in and then realizing that we're getting depleted. Now, I think a lot of people often check their phone charge on the charge on their phone more often than they're checking their own well-being and health and everything. So I was like, because I'm like, if I go out and I haven't got my charger, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've only got like 5 and 10% on my phone, and it's like catastrophe. But let me ask you a question. When was the last time you had a lunch break? Yeah? So a lot of people, and I was doing a little mini survey along with some colleagues, and one person said they hadn't had a lunch break properly for like 5 years. And I'm like, are you crazy? Really? You know, it's a crazy situation of how we keep going, and we forget that actually we need to look after ourselves within this role. It's really important in terms of you being there for the people that you're there to support. But the first and most important part of that equation is you. So I, in my experience, started to work out what it was that I was doing to keep myself, you know, grounded and being able to do the work that I really loved. Because at times I did think I just can't do this anymore and I have to go. But I really didn't want to do that. So I started to look at some self-help ideas and to think about what it was that I was doing. And when I was asking people about the lunch break idea, I was worked out that, you know, if you miss lunch even every day, because a lot of people do, and maybe go into work a little bit earlier or stay a little bit longer, you're actually working up to 3-4 days sometimes a month extra. And over the course of a year, that works out to be pretty much a whole month. So when did passion become voluntary? And it just made me think we really have to do something about actually that whole idea that we've got to tough it out, we've got to be strong, because you don't. And passion should not have to mean burnout. So I then put together a plan of what it was that I actually was doing and how I was supporting people. And I developed the life-work balance blueprint. And it does what it says on the tin in a way. It's like, how do you get your life and your work into balance? Because there can sometimes be a mismatch and a distortion, and that's not going to be good for anyone, particularly not yourself. Given what the statistics are, it's really important that we look after ourselves. You might have people that you go to who are your support group, but it starts with you. So in the life work balance blueprint, there are 5 elements, and although we haven't got time to go through the whole scope of it at the moment, I'd like to share with you one aspect, and that is called the Clear Vision Creator. The Kickstart Clear Vision Creator. Because clarity is key. Because if you're clear and you've got a vision of where you're going, you can actually be more confident and achieve what it is that you set out to achieve. So, in the Kickstart Clarity Creator, there are 4 key elements, and I want to start with the most important aspect of that, and that is you. So, there are, in those elements, the first one is, and I like to call them the Fab 4, just because, but the first one is breaks. You've got to take a break. And I hear people say, look, I'm so busy, I just haven't got time. Let me tell you, you haven't got time not to take a break, and here's why. Your body needs to refresh. You know, I was talking about the charge on your phone, it's just the same. So the first aspect, breaks, is that you take 5 to 10 minutes during your working day and just get outside if you can, walk for a little bit. Walking and having a glass of water, 2 really simple things. It doesn't take long. If you're indoors and you're sitting at a desk all day, your body is going to just settle and you're focused on your work, but your brain and your body needs time to actually refresh itself. So have a walk, get outdoors if you can. And a lot of people are working from home now as well. So it's really key to move, get outside, even if you're at home. So you might want to take what you would usually do, like putting out the laundry or emptying the bins, get outside, fresh air. The second aspect of the Fab 4 is breathing. It's really something not to take for granted. It's important to breathe and stretch. Oops. because actually it's like opening a window in a stuffy room. It's literally refreshing. It's getting that air into your lungs and it's letting your body do what it needs to do at its best. The third aspect is boundaries. Now, a lot of people can struggle with that because boundaries sometimes mean saying no. And people feel, oh my gosh, no, I can't say no. It's like, they're expecting me to do all this stuff. Well, boundaries are really important in terms of sharing responsibility in terms of problem solving, as well as gathering your own thoughts about what it is that's right for you right now. Because you have got a lot on your plate. We all have lots of demands on our time. If you actually are willing and able and build the skill to say no, you'll find that you can actually achieve more. Because if you're readily auditioning to be the next Churchy Churchill, saying yes, yes, yes to everything, then that premium could actually cost you your overall health and well-being. And no one should have to pay that price. So you never need to feel guilty for saying no, because it's about setting boundaries and being really clear. So if you're the fourth aspect, I said that there were four of the Fab Four. The fourth aspect is about what the benefits are. So if you're putting together these strategies, you're taking breaks, you're breathing, you're stretching. OMS are optional, as are leotards in that part. So you can actually then, you're taking your breaks, you're doing your breathing and stretching, you're actually moving towards a state where you can feel that you are more in charge and more in control of your day, your time, yourself. Because what you do is absolutely essential. In terms of the public sector, we know with all the changes that are happening, new protocols, there's a difficulty sometimes in separating work from home, because a lot of people are working from home and you've literally got your clients like in your kitchen or on the sofa with you while you're doing your work. So those four aspects are really important. The benefits being that you'll be clear, you'll be able to plan and prioritize your work more effectively, and that you can actually just take stock and be all of what you want to be in your role, and that you'll have that renewed power within yourself, that you can recognize that pressure and passion don't have to be conflicting aspects of your work. They can actually, when you're able to manage them, be complementary. And in the sense of what a lot of us have to do, continuing professional development, well, I thought it's really important to think about the person in the profession. So I'm literally going to take the P here, and instead of it being CPD for continuing professional development, let's change it to continuing personal development. Remember the Fab Four, take your breaks, breathe, stretch, feel the benefits, and just enjoy more of what you do more of the time. Thank you.